Hello, I'm to introduce myself. My name's Anthony. Live up in Northampton, and you would have seen the teaser track. It's my first introduction is what this channel is all about. Now, I've been keeping koi for the last 4 years. Once I'd inherited a pond, you can see just behind me, which actually was green water full of smaller goldfish. Now, I've lost koi, many koi in that. What I want to do is I want to share with you some of what I've experienced along the journey over the last 4 years. It covers everything from koi varieties, food, disease, treatment, common mistakes, water management, just to say a few. There's also going to be looking at potentially doing some koi trips over to some of the local koi dealers, some of which you would have already seen, such as Quenny Koi, but hopefully there's also some down in Bedford, which ain't too far from here, in Hitchin, down to local garden centres as well, which everyone turns their nose up at. But with the right way of handling fish, you can actually get some half decent koi from some, which you can see in the background. So let's have a quick look at the water. First and foremost, what you can see on my pond, again, like I said, inherited. Okay, we've got an L shape, square as well. So basically creates an issue with regards to water movement, which over time I've learned a lot about. I've had to, due to the issues that I've got over the years with moving debris off the bottom of the pond, etc, etc. So basically I'm a pump fed system off onto a Nexus. However, it's a second-hand Nexus. I'm not ashamed to say that, because they're expensive, and rather than paying out full price, I haven't got that sort of money, so I decided to get a second-hand one. Does the same job as what it would if I bought it brand new. It's not the newest model, but I'm sure that at one point it was better than what some people have got, and I'm more fortunate than some, you know, and I feel blessed for that. Whether I've only come to that over the years through, you know, knowing that I'm dedicated to what it is that I want to achieve, which is looking after these water pigs. So you see I've got a variety of fish in there. Okay, saggy, kajaku, sanky, showa, kikiryu. You know, we've even got a carp that was actually in the pond when I first got here. I called him Jack. It's a nice mirror carp. Tend to mate with a goldfish. I've got a load of carp goldfish hybrids, which I've moved on along with the goldfish, because if they're going to spawn, I want them to spawn as koi. So if they survive the big males in there, then, you know, we can bring them on. So at the moment I'm running from 10,000 litre an hour pump, and it's moving all the way up through the Nexus via 55 watt UV co-fire. Now over the years I've had a 16, a 32, but the garden's south facing, and even with a roof on it, which is basically a couple of old fence panels on top of some supports, I struggled like hell with algae growth, blanket weed, so I decided last year to put on a 55 watt, and it's done the job a treat, to be honest. So 10,000 litre pump per hour, up through a 55 watt UV co-fire into the Nexus, down through mechanical filter into biological filter, and then in through a return via a TP section, down to there and down to there. So you notice as you look on into the pond, I've got 2 returns, and the reason for that is that before I just used to have a waterfall there, which was brilliant, but I weren't getting any water movement. So I was seeing a lot of debris build up here and a lot of debris build up there, simply because there was no undercurrent in the in the pond itself to help flush the bottom down towards the pump. So over time I've worked out what that was, and on an old black Titan filter that's probably 20-30 years old now, I worked out it's better to have a couple of returns. Now the only downside with the setup like this, because it's not a bottom drain where you've got an external pump pushing the water back into the pond at varied rate, all we've got here is gravity pushing the water back out through the returns. So, but it's better than nothing. And actually, if I come down a little bit closer, the light does pick up some of the fines in the water, but ultimately it's not too bad. With a little bit of help from pond vacuum, you keep it relatively clean. So at the end of the day, achieving what we need to achieve just through basic knowledge of understanding how your pond's working. If it was a square, it'd all go down into the pump and you probably wouldn't have any issues. But the issues I've got here is that along there I've got a ledge, it dips down, got another ledge here lower, and it comes back up onto another ledge that comes all the way around here. Now, as you'll know, that a lot of people in their backyard ponds, if you was in America, they would entice that you have your plants etc in the water. However, because the pond was not built back in the day that it was built for keeping koi, there's a lot of issues with regards to dead water even now. So I find that on the shelves, because they slope backwards, that the water doesn't move the debris off the shelves, and I particularly get quite a build up in this corner where I've got the air stone operating, and in that corner over there where basically, although it's a shelf, it slopes backwards and there's a little concaved section that holds dead water, which is a breeding ground for bacteria. So over the years it stressed me out massively, especially when I've spent hundreds on koi, only to lose them through disease, which I didn't know existed until I started to work out there's got to be something wrong somewhere for this sort of thing to keep happening. And then, you know, bought a couple of books, a bit of research on the internet, started watching YouTube, invested in a microscope, which is something else that we'll go into later, and then started to develop my knowledge into the microorganism world of things that live on fish, which I'm sure, as you see a kajaku there having a little bit of a flash, not necessarily anything to worry about. I do it from time to time, but if it's consistent, I'll be keeping my eye on it. So as I move round now, guys, see that I'm into my aces. I think I've got about 32, something like that, aces. And then over here, excuse the mess, it is work in motion. I built myself a small little holding tank. So you'll see here, that used to be where the nexus is. It's got two returns. There's also a 55 watt clarifier there. You probably won't be able to see in there, but I shot some video earlier. There's a 3,500 litre pump operating from that in what is 1,000 litres, but through a 55 watt clarifier, which is far too powerful for the size of the pond. But I had it as surplus, so rather than get a smaller one, it's better to go oversized than have go out and buy something that you don't need. Inside there I've got the old plastic media for the mechanical filtration. Also introduced 10 litres of K1 Plus media in a net bag that does the job. Helps with the mechanical filtration, which is the part that takes all the big fish waste out into four stages of foam. And then I've got some carbon in some net bags before being returned to the pond. And to be quite honest, let's put a light on. You might be able to see there, just got a few little tosai that we're growing on. Quite nice. A lot of them come from company in Northampton, Kettering. Well, 5 of them did. Called the Water Gardens, and I've got one in there which is actually from Northampton Koi. So I'm just going to spin you back. So thanks for watching. Just having a look at, you know, what I've got on board. You'll see that, you know, when you see my holding tank, which is just there, it's only 1,000 litres, I didn't start off with the big Nexus. I started off with an inherited pond full of green water, a smaller box than that initially, and that's when I started to work out what the issues were. My dad passed, he had koi, so I took that from his old pond, because otherwise it would have just gone in the bin. Disinfected it and then started using that, and some of the pictures that you might see over the times will actually be of the koi pond there, and you'll see that the water's fine, crystal clear. However, due to the stock levels and the size of the pond, although the size of the pond wasn't a problem for it was actually an old Titan filter, it was just so heavily dependent on my time, and cleaning it took long, because you have to clean all the filters, you have to take all the water out, you have to clean the media in there. Quite a dirty job, and there weren't no drainage valves or nothing like that, so I was having to do it quite often. And at first I didn't realise the bacteria was actually developing in the filter, where I thought that I was doing a good thing. I was actually doing a bad thing because I weren't cleaning it often enough. And they're the sort of things that I'll start sharing with you guys. But I started off with small equipment, and then over the time bought a second-hand decent quality filter, and to be honest, you know, the fish are loving it, and that's what it's all about. But I just want to thank those people that have subscribed already. Apologies, I've got a bit of a shaky hand, and I may say and walk around a lot, but all it simply is, guys, is a channel there. I want to share with you what it is that I'm doing. I've got some other ways of presenting, and some of you may have noticed I'm also doing some different filming. I've got underwater shots, I've got from the top shots, I've got lots of little things up my sleeve, but I'm just not ready to put all that stuff together at the moment. So stay tuned now, and they will start to creep in, and I will look for your feedback, because at the end of the day I will like to produce some stuff that you guys like. Like I say, we'll be looking at certain reviews on kits, what I think is good, and I'll also share your comments. So as it goes, first video, thanks for tuning in. Apologies, it's a bit of a shaky sort of start, but filmed off of a phone. But ultimately, I hope you understand that I'm just here, and I'm trying to expand on what it is that I enjoy doing the most, and keeping a vlog and sharing with you some hints and tips of stuff that I know along the ways. But for those of you that don't know me, I'm an ex-soldier of 12 to 13 years working with the Night Shark Lancers, so you may find that there's some comments in the video below from people that know me. I'll get ripped by some of the guys from the military, because it's not the sort of standard they'd expect, but at the end of the day, it's not about them, it's about what it is that we want to achieve. So I hope that you've enjoyed the first little episode. Next one will be posted, where we'll be looking at some additives that I'll put in the water to help the health of the fish. So thanks for watching.